are Rat Ogres ending good past 6.2.2. There are units, named Spawn, maligned for bad animations but with really large amounts of per-hit damage. Then there are pretty decently fast, armor-piercing monstrous infantry that have a lot less raw damage than we'd prefer, but are considered to have better animations. As these go, Rat Ogres are pretty good. They have clear weaknesses, but the tools exist to overcome them, among which the Packmaster's existence, with the Throt DLC, looms large. Recruit for 800 gold and 200 upkeep, meaning they are right there in the troll cost slot. On Ultra scale, you get 16 beefy rats with 7,728 health between them. Definitely not top tier for monstrous infantry. Armor is 30, which means no better than 30. Leadership of 56 is more ferocious than clan rats, but that's not saying much. Speed 60 and charge speed 80 are actually quite speedy. Melee attack begins at 26, and there's no getting around this. This is awful as a base value. In contrast, attack interval 3.8 means that they're flinging out damage quite briskly. Splash target size is medium, so regular cavalry on down only crypt horrors will not be splashed. And interestingly, max target damage is 4, which is on the high side of monstrous infantry. This creates a risk of underkill, but here's what I want drilled into you. There are few units better designed for finishing off damaged entities in medium or small entity units than this. Melee defense begins at 26. I don't think we were expecting miracles. Weapon strength arrives at 75, split base 20 and armor piercing 55, so quite a lot of its power is armor piercing. Charge bonus is 46, and mass is 1500. Now, of those two things, the charge bonus being so high when its base melee attack is so low should stand out. This unit loves to charge, and it's good at it. At least, for now, this counts as a siege attacker, has hide and forest, which is notable at this size, causes fear, counts as a molder monster unit, has scurry away for plus 10% speed when fleeing, and has frenzy, which we need to use to instantly revise our view of the unit, because plus 10 melee attack comes with weapon strength, and charge bonus plus 10%, and immunity to psychology while morale remains reasonable. And at some point it won't, so this is not something that's going to last the entire battle. In the Redline skills, Molder Knowledge at 3 pips grants speed plus 10% and charge bonus plus 12 flat. So, while I'm calling it Monstrous Infantry, it's really very cavalry in its behavior, a hybrid of infantry and raw beast. At rank 7 and up, Mutagenic Elixirs grants armor plus 10, leadership plus 5, and physical resistance 10%, which is very juicy. In the tech tree, Practiced Goaders grants leadership plus 5, and is meant for people with the Throt DLC due to the Packmaster buff alongside it. But this is a faction launch unit. Monstrous Abominations grants weapon strength plus 5%, which is restrained, and charge bonus plus 15 flat, which is absolutely tremendous. This doesn't touch on the many potential upgrades and insanities from Throt's Flesh Laboratory available. So how do we use Rat Ogres? You didn't think Skaven had real cavalry, did you? Did you? It's a little slower than what you'd expect, especially in Warhammer 3 since things like Old Reiksguard were sped up. But if you look a little closer, ignoring the wall-to-wall muscle where armor would be, this is basically the faction's shock cavalry in roided form. It's counterintuitive, but the more I stare at the stats, the more I'm convinced I'm right about it. The Rat Ogres are intended to take advantage of their shock and awe to take control of a situation and exploit enemies trapped against your anvils or buzzsaws, whatever the case may be. They are viewed, fairly, as having poor synergy with weapons teams, but it's okay. If you don't put them in head-on collisions against units that can hurt them, which is a lot given that they're only 30 armor, you have one of the purest counter-punchers in the game. Any hero that can foil a charge, any combination of missile fire and speed bump that can frustrate a dangerous foe, and Rat Ogres can attempt to exploit that situation, and especially to hit and run, because what you didn't see in the stats was strength in numbers. There's nothing here to diminish their speed. They're not wolf riders, no, but they're not trying to be. So this is the floor. What can be achieved by Throt's lab is special. What can be achieved with throwing all 3 spell lures at them is filthy and should be. Go want poison on your Rat Ogres? Got it covered. Want them to hit more often and do more damage? Got it covered. Want the enemy to have the melee defense of a baby in diapers? Got it covered. and at its simplest, having a Packmaster with Shock Collar will make them deliver hard hits on your behalf. It doesn't need to be complicated, just manage the angles and get them smashing. You do have to care about friendly fire to a point, but ultimately keep this in mind. You hired Rat Ogres to do a job. If they die in the course of doing that job, that's part of the job. You don't want to lose them, but losing units is part of the Skaven experience. This is a middle value unit, don't try too hard. Focus on the damage and chaos you can do. If they die fruitlessly, that's the tragedy, not that they died. If they went down after inflicting grievous damage and putting the rest of your army in a position to win, that's just being Skaven. Take care, have fun knocking players off the edge of the map, like you own the town.